There comes a moment in every human life when the silence of the night becomes louder than the noise of the world. You lie there staring at the ceiling, waiting for something, someone, or some miracle to come and change your life. But the truth, my friend, is hard and sacred. No one is coming. No teacher, no guru, no lover, no friend, no savior will walk into your life and carry your burdens for you. This path, your growth, your healing, your destiny, belongs to you alone. The sooner you accept this, the sooner your strength will awaken. The moment you stop waiting for rescue is the moment you become unstoppable. Responsibility is not a punishment, it is liberation. Because once you take full ownership of your life, you take back your power to transform it. You've been waiting for a sign, haven't you? Waiting for the right time, the right person, the right opportunity, as if life will suddenly tap you on the shoulder and whisper, "Now is your moment." But life doesn't work like that. There is no perfect moment. There is no savior walking toward you through the fog. There is only you, standing still, watching days slip through your fingers while you wait for a miracle that was never promised. Every dream you hold, every change you crave, is waiting on one simple thing: your movement. Most people spend their lives standing at the edge of their own potential, too afraid to take the first step. They keep looking outward, hoping someone will notice their struggle. Someone will hand them direction. Someone will tell them, "This is how you begin." But the truth is raw and unkind to comfort. No one is coming. The universe rewards movement, not waiting. You can pray, you can hope, you can imagine, but until your feet move, nothing changes. Life listens not to your words, but to your actions. Imagine your life as a locked gate, and in your hand is the key. The key has been there the whole time, yet you keep shouting for someone to open it for you. Every time you blame others for your stagnation, every time you say "I can't" because you drop that key back into your pocket and pretend you are powerless. But power is not given, it is claimed. The gate will not open until your hand turns the key. Movement is the language of transformation. Stop telling yourself that you need to be ready. You will never feel fully ready. Readiness is an illusion created by fear to keep you safe inside your comfort. You don't grow from safety, you grow from motion. Even a small step forward shakes the ground beneath your excuses. The moment you move even slightly, life begins to move with you. Momentum builds, doors appear, energy shifts. The world responds when you do. There will be fear, there will be doubt. The mind will whisper, "What if I fail?" But ask yourself a harder question: what if you never try? What if you spend your entire existence waiting for the perfect moment that never comes? One day you will realize that your hesitation cost you more than any failure ever could. Failure only hurts for a moment. Regret echoes forever. The pain of discipline, of courage, of trying will shape you into someone unrecognizable, stronger, sharper, alive. You must learn to move without applause, to act without reassurance. Because when you stop waiting for validation, you begin to validate yourself. When you stop waiting for direction, you discover your own inner compass. Life is not meant to be observed, it is meant to be lived through movement. A stagnant river breeds decay, but a flowing river stays alive. Be that river. Let your steps, no matter how small, keep your soul in motion. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for someone to understand your pain. Don't wait for a clearer path. Begin now exactly where you are, with what you have. Begin in silence, begin imperfectly, but begin. Each movement forward, each act of courage, sends a message to the universe. I am ready to meet my destiny halfway. Remember this: life will never carry you if you refuse to walk. The world belongs to those who move, not those who wait. Every day you hesitate, life continues without you. But the day you decide to move, everything begins to change. The gate opens, the path clears, and the person you've been waiting for finally arrives. It was you all along. Every morning when you open your eyes, life quietly places two invisible stones in your hands, one called choice and the other called consequence. What you do with them determines the shape of your day, the direction of your life, and the weight of your destiny. Most people don't realize this truth until years have passed. They blame luck, fate, or circumstance for where they are, never seeing that their own choices have been carving the path beneath their feet since the beginning. Every thought, every action, every word is a brushstroke painting the reality you live in now. You are the architect of your life. Every decision, no matter how small, is like a brick. Some days you build with discipline, other days with hesitation, but each choice adds to the structure of who you are becoming. When you complain about your surroundings, about how life feels unfair or heavy, pause and look around. The walls were not built overnight. They were built by thousands of moments, what you said yes to, what you ignored, what you avoided, and what you surrendered to. The life you are living today is the echo of choices you made yesterday, and the life you will live tomorrow depends entirely on what you choose today. There is a silent power in every decision you make. When you choose to wake up early, when you choose to study instead of scroll, to walk away from drama, to forgive, to stay kind when you're tired, these small unseen moments are rewriting your destiny. You may not notice their effect instantly, but over time they transform you. Greatness is not the result of one grand decision. It's born from 1,000 quiet choices made when no one is watching. Every time you hesitate, waiting for someone to tell you what to do, you hand over your power. But when you act consciously, when you choose with awareness, you become the sculptor of your own fate. Life doesn't owe you direction. It responds to the direction you give it. You can't expect abundance from choices made in laziness. You can't expect peace from choices rooted in anger. Every seed you plant grows according to its nature. If your choices are careless, your garden will be chaos. If they are intentional, your life will bloom with meaning. Think about it. How many times have you said, "I didn't have a choice"? That is the language of surrender. You always have a choice, even when both paths look difficult. You can choose courage over comfort, discipline over distraction, truth over illusion. Each of these choices strengthens the muscles of your spirit. Life will test you again and again, but your response, your conscious decision, is what builds your character. The truth is, your external world is just a reflection of your internal choices. If you choose resentment, you live in bitterness. If you choose gratitude, you see beauty. If you choose fear, you walk in shadows. And if you choose faith, light begins to follow you. No one else decides what you think, how you react, or where your focus rests. That power has always been yours. The universe bends around the energy of your decisions. So today, before you speak, before you act, before you react, pause, ask yourself, is this choice leading me closer to the life I want, or deeper into the one I wish to escape? Every moment offers a chance to rebuild. You are never too late to choose differently. You can start again right now with a single decision. Remember this, your reality is not written by destiny, it is written by your daily choices. You are the author of your life's story, and every choice is a word shaping your next chapter. Choose with awareness, choose with courage, because every choice you make is a vote for the person you wish to become. And when you choose with power, your reality will begin to rise to meet you. Excuses are the softest prison ever built, comfortable, familiar, and invisible. You sit inside its walls convincing yourself you're free because the door was never locked, yet you never step outside. Every excuse you tell yourself is a story carefully crafted to protect your comfort and justify your inaction. I'm too tired, it's not the right time, I don't have the resources, they were luckier than me. You repeat these phrases until they sound like truth, but deep down you know what they really are. Shields that keep you from facing your own power. Because when you strip away the excuses, all that remains is responsibility. And responsibility is heavy, but it is also the weight that builds strength. You see, life doesn't punish you for your excuses, it simply ignores them. The world doesn't bend for the one who complains, it moves for the one who takes accountability. Every time you justify your lack of effort, you trade a piece of your potential for temporary comfort. It's a quiet transaction, one that slowly drains your life of progress. Excuses don't protect you, they imprison you. They are the chains that keep your dreams waiting on the other side of your fear. There is a difference between saying I can't and I won't. One pretends to be powerless, the other admits the truth. Accountability begins when you stop lying to yourself, when you stop blaming your past, your parents, your circumstances, or the weather. Accountability is standing in the mirror, looking yourself in the eyes and saying, I am exactly where I chose to be. It's not about guilt, it's about awakening. Because when you claim full responsibility, you claim full power to change. Think about it. If you believe your life is controlled by others, then you have no power to change it. But the moment you accept that your outcomes are a reflection of your choices, everything becomes possible again. Accountability is not self-punishment, it's self-liberation. It means you finally understand that no one else is responsible for your discipline, your effort, your healing, or your dreams. You are. And that realization, though painful at first, is the key that unlocks freedom. Excuses are seductive because they remove the burden of effort. It feels easier to point outward than to look inward. But nothing grows in the soil of blame. Growth only begins in the soil of ownership. The person who blames remains powerless. The person who takes responsibility becomes unstoppable. When you say it's my fault, you are not diminishing yourself, you are reclaiming control. You are saying, if I build this, I can rebuild it better. That is where transformation begins. There will always be reasons to wait, reasons to quit, reasons to feel unprepared. But if you only move when conditions are perfect, you will spend your life standing still. The universe doesn't reward those who explain, it rewards those who act. Accountability is not loud, it doesn't boast or complain, it works in silence, disciplines itself, and takes consistent steps toward change. When you choose accountability, your language changes. I don't have time becomes, I didn't make time. They didn't support me becomes, I relied on the wrong people. Life isn't fair becomes, I will adapt. Each shift pulls you closer to mastery. Excuses build illusions. Accountability builds results. So stop waiting for understanding, for sympathy, for rescue. Stop defending your weaknesses and start building your strength. Every time you take responsibility, you rise above the noise of complaint and step into the quiet power of action. Remember this: excuses keep you where you are. Accountability takes you where you want to be. The difference between failure and progress is not luck, not timing, but the courage to say, it's on me. Because when you own your life completely, no one can take it from you. And that is the moment you truly become free. Motivation is a spark, bright, exciting but fleeting. It burns hot for a moment, and then disappears the moment life becomes uncomfortable. You've felt it before, that surge of energy after watching a powerful video, reading an inspiring quote, or hearing someone speak. For a few hours, you believe you can do anything, but then morning comes, the alarm rings and the spark is gone. That is why so many people start with passion, but never finish with results. Motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. Discipline is not loud or dramatic. It doesn't need fireworks or applause. It's the quiet force that makes you show up when no one's watching. It's the decision to do what needs to be done. Not because you feel like it, but because you made a promise to yourself. Motivation depends on emotion. Discipline depends on commitment. And in a world full of distractions, the disciplined are the few who keep walking when everyone else stops to rest. There will be days when you feel strong and focused, and there will be days when your energy collapses, when your heart feels heavy and your mind says, not today. That is the moment when most people quit, when comfort whispers louder than purpose. But discipline teaches you to move even when you don't want to act when your emotions beg for rest, to push when the world says slow down. Because discipline is not about perfection, it's about consistency. It's about choosing progress over comfort again and again until it becomes who you are. Think of a mountain climber. Motivation gets them to the base, excited, energized, full of hope. But halfway up, when their muscles ache, when the air thins, when the climb becomes painful, motivation fades. What carries them the rest of the way is discipline, the unshakable will to keep moving one step at a time, even when every step hurts. Life is that mountain. Most people start strong but never reach the peak because they rely only on the fire of feeling, not the strength of habit. Discipline is the rope that keeps you climbing when everything in you wants to let go. Discipline is built through repetition. It's not a gift, it's trained. Every time you wake up early when you don't want to, every time you choose focus over distraction, every time you honor your word, you're building an invisible armor around your spirit. Slowly, your mind learns that feelings are not commands, that comfort is not your master. You stop asking, do I feel like it, and start saying, it must be done. That is freedom, not being ruled by emotion, but by purpose. The undisciplined wait for inspiration to strike before acting. The disciplined act first, and inspiration finds them on the way. It's a reversal of energy, because the truth is, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. But discipline is the foundation that doesn't shake. It's what allows you to keep moving forward, even through boredom, pain, and fatigue. And when you master it, you no longer chase momentum, you create it. You must train yourself to move regardless of mood, to rise when tired, to focus when distracted, to persist when progress is slow. Every great transformation is built on the quiet repetition of disciplined acts. Success is not won in moments of excitement, but in the dull, unseen hours of consistency. So stop chasing motivation. It will never stay long enough to build the life you want. Instead, build discipline, the kind that doesn't care how you feel, only what you've promised. Because one day the same people who were motivated but quit will look up and see you still standing, still walking, still rising. And they will ask you how. You will smile and say, I didn't wait to feel ready. I was disciplined enough to begin. Your mind is both your greatest weapon and your most dangerous enemy. It can lift you to peace or drag you into chaos, build your destiny or destroy your potential, all depending on who is in control. Most people spend their lives being ruled by their thoughts, never realizing they have the power to choose them. They wake up in the morning and their mind begins its chatter. I'm tired. I can't do this. Today will be hard. And without question they obey. They hand over the reins of their life to an untrained master. But you must learn to take control of your mind before it takes control of you. The mind is like a wild horse, powerful, fast, and capable of carrying you anywhere. But without discipline, it throws you to the ground. Every thought you allow becomes a direction your life begins to follow. If you feed your mind with fear, it will create a world that confirms it. If you fill it with doubt, it will find reasons to prove you unworthy. Your mind is not loyal to truth, it is loyal to your focus. Whatever you nurture within it becomes your reality. You've heard the saying, as you think, so you become. But have you ever truly felt what that means? Your thoughts are not harmless, they are the architects of your emotions, the blueprints of your habits, and the foundation of your destiny. Every feeling you experience starts as a thought you accepted without question. When you say, I can't, your body listens. When you think, I'm not enough, your actions shrink to fit that belief. The mind does not argue, it simply obeys. To take control of your mind is to stand guard at the gate of your thoughts. You must learn to observe what enters. Most of your suffering does not come from the world. It comes from how your mind interprets it. Two people can face the same storm, yet one grows stronger while the other collapses. The difference lies not in the storm itself, but in the story their mind tells about it. You can't always control what happens to you, but you can always control how you respond, and that response begins in your mind. There will be days when your thoughts try to betray you, whispering lies of defeat and fear. On those days, do not argue with them, replace them. If your mind says, I can't, you answer, I will learn. If it says, I'm tired, you reply, I'll rest when it's done. You cannot silence your mind completely, but you can train it to serve you instead of sabotage you. Each time you redirect a negative thought, you take back a piece of your power. Each time you discipline your mind to focus on strength instead of struggle, peace instead of panic, you rewire your inner world. Remember, mastery of the mind is not about escaping your thoughts, it's about mastering your awareness of them. It's about realizing that you are not your thoughts, you are the observer behind them. When anger rises, you see it but don't become it. When fear appears, you acknowledge it but don't bow to it. The more you practice this awareness, the freer you become. If you don't control your mind, someone else will. The media, opinions, negativity, they all feed on the undisciplined mind. But when you learn to guide your focus, you become untouchable. You stop reacting and start choosing. You stop surviving and start creating. So train your mind every day as you would train your body with patience, repetition, and strength. Feed it with truth, challenge it with silence, sharpen it with purpose. Because the moment you take control of your mind, you take control of your life. And once you master that inner world, no external force can ever master you again. There comes a moment in life when you must stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what can I create from this? That single shift in thought separates those who stay trapped from those who rise. You were never born to be a victim of your circumstances. You were born to be a creator of your reality. Yet most people spend their lives carrying the weight of what others did to them, of what didn't go their way, of what life took. They build their identity around pain instead of purpose. They tell stories of struggle as if the struggle itself defines them. But you are not here to repeat your wounds. You are here to rewrite your story. Imagine life as a canvas. Some people wait for others to paint it for them, hoping the colors will be kind and the strokes gentle. Others pick up the brush with trembling hands and start painting anyway. Even if the colors are dark, even if the lines are rough, those are the creators. They don't wait for perfect conditions, they use what they have, where they are, with full heart and presence. And in time, their messy strokes become masterpieces of resilience. You have that same power. You are holding the brush of your life right now. Yes, people will hurt you. Life will disappoint you. The world will sometimes seem unfair. But pain is not punishment. It's raw material. The difference between a victim and a creator is what they do with their pain. A victim keeps replaying the past, letting it poison the present. A creator takes that same pain and forges it into strength. A victim says, "This broke me." A creator says, "This built me." Both experienced the same wound, but only one chose to heal through it. You cannot always choose what happens to you, but you can always choose what you build from it. When you focus only on what's missing, you lose sight of what's possible. The truth is, every person who has ever risen above hardship did so not because life was easy, but because they refused to stay down. You must decide that you are no longer a product of what went wrong, but a sculptor of what can still go right. When you see yourself as a victim, your power dissolves. You wait, you hope, you depend. But when you see yourself as a creator, your energy changes. You stop seeking rescue, you begin to rise. You stop complaining, you begin to build. You stop reacting, you begin to design. Life starts to respond differently because your vibration shifts from helplessness to intention. Creation begins the moment you take ownership of your existence, no matter how broken it seems. Do not underestimate the quiet power within you. The same fire that once burned you can become the light that guides you. Every obstacle, every betrayal, every failure, they were not sent to define you, but to refine you. Life doesn't owe you ease. It offers you the raw materials of growth. Your responsibility is to turn them into something beautiful. So stop saying "I can't" and start asking "How can I?" Stop waiting for someone to fix what only you can transform. The moment you accept full responsibility, you reclaim your power. You begin to understand that even when everything around you is uncertain, the power within you remains unshaken. You are not the victim of your story. You are the author of its next chapter. And when you finally step into that truth, the world around you begins to shift. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you have become stronger. Remember this: no one is coming to save you, because you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to awaken. You are not a victim. You are the creator, and your life will become whatever you decide to build with your own two hands. The need for approval is a quiet prison. It doesn't have walls or chains, yet it keeps countless people trapped for a lifetime. You may not even notice it at first. It starts with small compromises. You say yes when you want to say no. You hide your true thoughts because you fear being misunderstood. You measure your worth by how others respond to you. And before you realize it, your entire sense of identity is tied to someone else's opinion. But the truth is, the moment you live for approval, you stop living for truth. You were not born to be liked. You were born to be real. Yet society teaches you to please before it teaches you to think. From childhood, you're rewarded for obedience, for fitting in, for doing what's expected. And so, as you grow, you begin to confuse acceptance with love and validation with value. You start chasing smiles, compliments, and praise like a hungry traveler, searching for drops of water. But approval is never enough. It's like drinking from a mirage. The more you chase it, the thirstier you become. Imagine walking through life with invisible strings tied to your heart, each one pulled by a different hand. One pulls you toward what your family expects. another toward what your friends think, another toward what strangers online might say. How can you move freely when your every step is controlled by fear of judgment? You can't. You end up living not as yourself but as a reflection of what others want you to be. You become an actor in your own story, reciting lines written by everyone but you. Detachment from approval doesn't mean becoming cold or rebellious. It means learning to stand rooted in your own truth, even when the world disagrees. It means acting with integrity, not popularity. You must reach a point where silence from others does not silence your purpose, where criticism does not shake your clarity, where praise does not inflate your ego. Real strength is quiet. It is found in doing what's right, not what's applauded. Every great soul that ever walked this earth faced misunderstanding. The visionary is often called strange before he is called wise. The strong are often labeled harsh before they are recognized as disciplined. The genuine are often mocked before they are respected. You cannot please everyone, and you were never meant to. If you spend your life trying to fit into every mold, you'll eventually lose your shape completely. Remember, the tallest tree doesn't grow by asking the forest for permission. It grows by reaching for the light on its own. When you no longer need approval, something beautiful happens. You become free. You start to listen to the quiet voice within, the one that's been whispering all along, "This is who you are." You begin to make decisions not based on fear, but on alignment. You learn that solitude is not emptiness, it's where your authenticity breathes. You start to attract people who respect your truth instead of demanding your conformity. The moment you detach from approval, you reconnect with self-respect. So ask yourself, whose voice are you really living for? The world's or your own? Each time you let someone's opinion define you, you hand them the keys to your peace. Take them back. You don't need applause to walk your path. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need validation to know your worth. The only approval you should ever seek is from the part of you that knows you're giving your best, that you're living in alignment with your values. Let them misunderstand you. Let them doubt you. Let them whisper your name in rooms you're no longer trying to enter. What matters is that you remain truthful to your inner compass. Because in the end, peace will never come from being understood by everyone. It will come from being honest with yourself. And when you finally stop needing the world to agree with who you are, you become untouchable. Because freedom begins the moment you detach from approval and choose authenticity over acceptance. There will come a day when no one answers your call, when no hand reaches out to pull you up, and when silence becomes your only companion. In that silence, you will discover the truth that no one can carry your burden for you. The world can guide, teach, and support, but it cannot walk your path. That step, that choice, that strength must come from within. When you stop depending on others to make you feel strong, you begin to realize the immeasurable power that has always been inside you. We live in a time where people seek comfort more than courage. You are told to find someone who will complete you, something that will motivate you, or a system that will fix you. But what happens when those people leave, when that motivation fades, when the system fails? If your foundation depends on others, your strength will always be fragile. True power is not built on dependence, it is built on self-reliance. You cannot rise by leaning forever on the shoulders of others. You rise by finding balance in your own stance. Think of a tree that grows on the edge of a cliff. It has no shelter from the wind, no rich soil, no protection, and yet, because of its struggle, its roots grow deep, its trunk grows strong, and its branches reach far. If it had grown in comfort, it would have remained weak. In the same way, your inner strength is not born in moments of ease, it is forged in the fires of difficulty. The very moments you thought would break you are the moments that shaped your endurance. It is easy to rely on others when things get hard, to look for someone to rescue you, to blame, or to lean on endlessly. But every time you do, you weaken your own muscles of resilience. The more you depend, the less you grow. Dependence feels safe, but it's a silent thief that steals your confidence. You don't become strong by being protected. You become strong by learning how to protect yourself. And that doesn't mean closing your heart to others. It means opening your heart to your own capability. Building inner strength begins with discipline. You must train your mind to stay calm in storms and your emotions to stay steady in uncertainty. You must learn to sit with discomfort without running from it. You must be willing to face your fears alone, not because you want to, but because you must. Strength is not something you find, it is something you build, one decision, one challenge, one silent victory at a time. There will be people who help you, and there will be times when support is necessary. But don't confuse help with dependency. Take the lessons, take the encouragement, but stand on your own 2 feet. Because when the world shifts, as it always does, only what you've built within yourself will remain. The calm mind, the disciplined spirit, the unwavering heart, these are your true allies. You must reach a point where even if everything around you falls apart, you remain whole. Where even if no one believes in you, you continue to move forward. Where even if you feel alone, you know that solitude does not mean weakness, it means power. Because the moment you realize that everything you need is already inside you, you become unstoppable. So stop waiting for someone to make you strong. Stop expecting life to carry you gently. Stop leaning so heavily on others that you forget how to stand. Begin building the kind of inner foundation that no storm can shake. You do not need rescuers, you need roots. You do not need reassurance, you need resolve. You do not need permission, you need presence. And when you finally learn to stand in your own strength, you will understand that independence is not loneliness, it is liberation. The world belongs to those who no longer wait for someone to lift them. It belongs to those who rise on their own, silently, steadily, with unshakable power. Failure is not your enemy, it is your reflection. It shows you what you avoid, what you fear, and what you still need to master. When you fail, life is holding up a mirror, not to humiliate you, but to teach you. Yet most people, when faced with that reflection, turn away. They see disappointment and think it defines them. They see rejection and think it means they are unworthy. But failure does not expose your weakness, it reveals your truth. It strips away illusion and comfort until all that remains is what's real. Think of failure as a river's current. If you resist it, you drown in frustration. But if you learn to move with it, to understand its flow, you eventually find your way downstream, stronger and wiser than before. Every time you fail, you are given a choice to hide from what you see or to face it with honesty. The lesson isn't always pleasant, but it is always valuable. Failure is feedback, a message from life saying you are not there yet, but you can be if you learn. You see, success doesn't teach you much. It comforts you, inflates your confidence, and sometimes blinds you. But failure, it humbles you. It shows you the cracks in your discipline, the blind spots in your understanding, the illusions in your effort. It reveals where your intentions were shallow and where your patience ran thin. Failure is your most honest teacher. It does not flatter you, but it refines you. Imagine standing before a mirror that reflects not your appearance but your habits, your choices, your discipline. What would you see? Would you see consistency or excuses, determination or distraction, honesty or denial? Failure reflects that truth every time you fall short. It's not trying to shame you, it's trying to awaken you. It's saying this is where your work begins. But too often you blame the world for what your reflection reveals. You point outward when you should be looking inward. You say it wasn't fair, or they didn't support me, or it wasn't the right time. Yet failure is not interested in excuses. It only responds to responsibility. When you stop running from failure, you stop running from yourself. You begin to see that the pain of falling is the same force that teaches you how to rise. Every person who has achieved mastery has stared deeply into this mirror. They didn't break it, they studied it. They asked, what is this teaching me? And then they adjusted. Over time, their reflection began to change. That's how growth works, not by avoiding failure, but by using it to understand yourself more completely. You cannot fix what you refuse to see. You cannot evolve while denying what's being shown to you. Failure is the purest mirror, because it cannot lie. It will not pretend that your effort was enough when it wasn't. It will not comfort you with empty praise. It simply reflects reality, your level of preparation, your consistency, your mindset. And that's why it's so powerful. If you are brave enough to look, you will find the answers you've been searching for. So the next time you fail, don't lower your head in shame. Look into that reflection with courage. Ask yourself, What is this showing me about who I am and who I must become? Because once you see clearly, failure loses its sting. It becomes your guide instead of your enemy. Do not fear the mirror, face it. Let failure reveal the areas that demand more strength, more patience, more humility. Let it carve away your ego until only truth remains. That is how you transform. That is how you rise beyond the limits that once held you down. And remember, those who learn from failure never truly fail. They only refine themselves until the reflection in the mirror is no longer filled with fear or regret, but with strength, wisdom, and unshakable self-belief. Every moment of your life, you are radiating energy through your thoughts, your emotions, your words, and your presence. Whether you realize it or not, this energy shapes your reality. It affects how people respond to you, how opportunities unfold, and even how your body feels. But most people walk through life unaware of this power. They let their moods control them, their environment drain them, and their emotions dictate their actions. They say, "I'm tired because of them," or "they ruined my day." Yet no one can drain what you do not give away. The truth is, your energy is your responsibility, always. You felt it before. The heaviness that comes when you surround yourself with negativity, the exhaustion that follows when you keep giving without grounding yourself, the dullness that takes over when you complain, when you worry, when you replay the past again and again. These moments are not random, they are signals. Life is showing you that your energy field is leaking, and until you learn to guard it, you will continue to feel powerless, even when you are capable of so much more. Your energy is like a garden. If you neglect it, weeds of resentment, doubt, and fatigue begin to grow. But when you take care of it, when you feed it with gratitude, silence, discipline, and movement, it flourishes. It becomes a space of clarity and strength. No one can do that work for you. No one can protect your peace but you. You cannot expect to walk through chaos and feel calm if you don't learn to cultivate calmness within. You cannot expect to attract positivity while feeding your mind with anger, gossip, or self-pity. You must understand that every choice you make either strengthens or weakens your energy. The people you allow near you, the thoughts you repeat, the habits you choose, all of them leave a mark. Some lift you,